Okay, this is about a long time ago. There was a thing happened to me. My son didn't have his own car yet, so I drove him to work and picked him up. One time I went too early, which was strange because on my clock at home it was the right time, so I thought. But I was driving and it was too late, so I pulled into a side road, a dirt road, and it had some farms in there, and a big tree was on the left side as you drive in. So I pulled over near the tree. I was getting some little bit of a view in the side road, like farms in the background, farms to the right as you drive in. And I pulled over anyway, and I saw this tree, and it looked more normal than everything else. So I took a photo of it, and boom, all this pulsating blue glow started to surround me, and it was, what the hell is this? So I'm taking photos, stretch my hand out taking photos, even though I was in the blue glow, it was all around me. I was holding my phone and I'm taking photos of it, and making sure that my fingers aren't in the road and everything, taking photos of this blue glow, and it stretched, it was bending around the tree and it stretched all the way down to a farm, to a shed. And I thought, gee, that's really big and long, not realising that these are called wings. Later on, I saw them in drawings and things like that, it's called wings. So I thought, well, this is peculiar. So I told everybody and showing everybody this blue glow that was an event in my life that was unusual, even more unusual than unusual. And I think they call that real supernormal look paranormal. So anyway, my arms burnt in the same shape as gloves because I must have had my arms stretched out, but why my body didn't burn, I don't know. So I called them gloves, paranormal gloves, supernatural gloves. I don't know. I just called them gloves. Anyway, I got sick and it looked like it was burnt all over me, which soon cleared up after a few years. Wasn't burns, it was some other thing. And it seeped into the skin. You could see it seeping into the skin as it's fading in, and some of it was still there and so forth. And sometimes when I went shopping, the lights would blow in the shopping centres and they turned black. The gloves turned black, jet black, that you could see them in the semi-dark. And people called me freak. She's a freak, they said. Pretty sad because it wasn't my doing. I lost friends as well. They called me freak. People, I showed the pictures of the blue glow. I've thrown my old phone out because it stopped working after 20 years later, 20, 30 years later. So, well, this is about the journey of these gloves. Now, I didn't want anyone to know about it, so I registered them with copyright, not making any copies of them. I wouldn't know what to do, but I registered them so that nobody could claim they owned them. And once I registered them and I got the number, I mouthed off and showed the pictures of that blue glow. And then a couple of years later, I was making a cup of coffee, and on this little stove, it's electrical stove, I had a pot full of water, not full of water, but enough water for 2 cups of coffee if someone turned up. And there was this, it's really hard to talk about it. It was strange. There was this, like a hole went through the stove and the pot. And I saw the normal looking thing, and I knew it was the gloves. So I thought, okay, so I've got to make commands to make this thing. I've got to control this thing, because what if it puts a hole in someone's head or my own head? So I used the old DOS commands 1 through to 10, and that seemed to work. And it was still not good enough, because on the 10th command, later on, I changed it to return home safely, so there's no holes and things, because what happened was, and you can check it up, in the Inala caravan park, because I was very poor, I lived in a little caravan, it's all I could afford. It's a roof. When you've got nothing, it's good enough. I didn't have the 10th command to return home safely, and it melted all the wires in the caravan, melted every wire, and made these strange sounds that were exactly the same as the Dyatlov Pass incident with the 9 students. It had the same sound. It was a sound I've never heard before, and nobody else heard before. There was people standing around watching, because they're going, that's weird. That's weird. I've never heard that sound before. And I'm running out thinking, what the fuck? What's that sound? And everything was burnt, and they had to give me a new caravan, which was good. Hang on, I've got to pause this. I've got to turn my breakfast lunch over. So I had to rearrange the 1 through to 10 commands, old DOS commands, and at the end, the 10th one, copy, repeat numbers 1 through to 6 or 1 through to 5, and then return home safely, or return home safely. It was whatever I felt at the time that it could be controlled with, and seeing it worked, the DOS commands worked on it, I started to control it more, which I thought. While I was in that caravan, there was a spider crawling on the wall, and it kept falling down and then kept trying to climb up the wall. And I thought, that's strange. I haven't used sprays to kill anything. And it kept falling. And then this thing started happening. It started pulsating, and it turned into like a mirror. And then it appeared, it was a daddy long legs looking thing, a daddy long legs. Now they know how to use the gloves for invisibility or cloaking. Now, what else could be possibly using the gloves for that sort of thing, because I didn't know how to use it, not yet, at that time. So I realised that it's terrestrial, what I found, not earthly, even though it was blue. It also sometimes has mist appear without mist. It's like a fog without, it looks like fog, but it's not. It appears like, and when it's blue, it pulsates like a throbbing heartbeat, but it's not. It's the mist pulsating. It's like you see those UFOs pulsate. It's exactly the same as that. So anyway, I thought, well, if it's exactly the same as those, why don't I try and put it over my car? That would look cool, wouldn't it? So off I went to use the commands and put it over my car and took a photo. It didn't pulsate blue at all, but it did look, it did have the bending light around it, without the pulsating, the glow without the pulsating, the misty thing wasn't there. And I took a picture of a normal car next to it, and it looked normal, but mine looked different to normal. The surrounding was different. So those pictures, even though I had them registered with that site for copyright, people stole the pictures and used them for selling cars, saying these are the latest of what they look like, and they were using the blue. It did have a blue, but it wasn't pulsating, and they were using my pictures. America, they were also ripping America, Obama, so he sued him, which was good because he stopped using my pictures. Even though he wasn't supposed to when it was registered, I had number. This was my thing, this bending light, which I call wings now. When I was a young child, I was accused as being an angel, and the police were called in. People were afraid of me. I don't know what they saw. Maybe the blue glow was, bending light was showing itself. I have no idea, but the police took statements and everything. So it sort of like comes with the territory, doesn't it? So that's the story of my gloves, except these days I don't use DOS commands anymore because it grew with me, and over time I just have to think of something or say something and bang. They work the same way as the DOS commands. So to wipe out all the commands, I made the last DOS commands 1 through to 10 to delete override everything and free of it, and it now just works with me with what I say. I don't know what it can do besides put holes in things. Anyway, NASA was in space doing tests on psychics, and somehow I got mixed up there. And I saw something which was the same as the paranormal look about the gloves, and they had a tiny hole, which I knew, oh, there's something there, there's something wrong there. And I kept pointing, there's something wrong over there, and they must have been heard and went to the spot and couldn't find anything, but they kept looking and they found it was a tiny hole. So I saved their lives. But naughty gloves did that because it has no, I realised then it has no time and distance. It can just instantly be there. It's like, I don't know what it's like. I haven't seen anything like it really. But I sometimes skite about it. Why not? Pictures of people with little wings, and I always snicker and say, oh, my wings are bigger than yours, because they stretched all the way. When I first found them, they stretched all the way to the farmyard, the barns, and I don't know how further on past that. So I know they're huge. So that's something for me to be proud of, that I achieved. Smart enough to work out to control it and what to do to control it, to prevent any damage, and it hasn't hurt anyone ever since. It just stretches out. It has no time or distance. It's a very peculiar thing. Now, since all that, because I made sure that it was known that it was mine, the government rings you if you have something that's yours. They ring you and say, we verify that whatever you call it, I call gloves, is yours. And that was the phone call I was hoping for. And then I went all over the place and told everybody and showed everybody. I don't show anybody anymore because I'm old, I'm 61 now. But no angel, it was just one of those freaky accidents, I think. In the right place at the right time, I think, because not far from that I heard stories about a place not far from there that was using testing on people with radiations and things like that. And I think it leaked into the water and near that tree, bending around the tree like it was blowing away or following me. But anyway, it was awesome. It feels awesome. I feel so happy that I'm not the same as everyone else because I've been nothing. I've been nobody. I'm nothing. And just to have something and be something with it is just awesome. It really is awesome. But anyway, there's been a lot of people, they hear the word gloves, they don't understand I called them gloves. It doesn't mean they're real gloves. They seeped into they're part of me now, those bending light things. They're a part of me in the form of gloves, not a Bennu bird or a snake or a reptile or whatever people think it was the form of gloves. But people think as soon as you mention gloves, they want those items. So I've had people constantly hound me, even on the YouTube. People from Europe, from Britain, have made videos that they're going to get the gloves any way possible. By all means, they don't care. And that's kept on YouTube. There's evidence of it. Even if they delete it, YouTube keeps track of everything. You can't really delete everything off the internet. I was in horror. I thought, oh my God. They probably saw it as a threat. Well, you can't go with threats against God because you're an enemy. And then you will see the truth. I'll try and work out to use it somehow to stop you from hurting me. I have to protect myself. So there was people, and then there was, I'm not sure if he's after my gloves, but Trump, there was a video about him wanting magical items from another country. I thought, oh my God, what if it's me? What if they think that I have gloves and not understanding what I'm saying? So this is why I'm making this video. This is why, to make people understand, you've got to stop. And they're not yours, you're never going to get them. And the gloves aren't solid matter. They were mixed with gas or something mystical that was pulsating. I don't know, it's hard to explain. So you're not getting them, you never will. They're not around for anybody to grab. So they're mine, and I call them wings because they're bending around a tree, and they bend around me now because they formed through me, through my arms, and went through to my body. They grew with me and I grew with them. I know the commands and I know what to do without commands now, and so forth. Anyway, that's the story of my gloves that are terrestrial. And this is the thing that's going on when people get abducted. They get trialed and tested if they can handle gloves, and it's very hard to handle at first because it's like being punched or something. Not punched, but the sensation of it is very hard at first, and you'll get to notice it, and then you'll get to work out your own commands, and then you'll get to do other things. But with those gloves, oh gee, things went crazy. I knew everyone's weapons in every country, all their flight plans. It was the strangest thing you could ever imagine, to have hold of my gloves. And I am I'm over that knowing everything part, and I just sit around and I play the Sony 4 and watch movies on YouTube and make videos for my grandson and son. So I'm over that sort of thing. I'm sort of like old, but I get to take it with me because it's not solid form like money or gold or house or things like that. It's not of wood, and it's not of glass. It's not of copper metal. It's not of clay. So I get to take it with me. Ooh. So anyway, you guys that keep getting abducted, look around. Look around. If you see something that doesn't look normal but is normal and more normal than normal, then you've got a pair of wings, you've got a bending light, or maybe a pair of boots, or your own gloves. But you've got something. Just keep looking around. Check your body for scars. Check how the insects and bugs are carrying on. Watch all around you. Anyway, give me a thumbs up.